everyone, my name's Lily. I'm the book blogger behind Utopia State of Mind, and today I'm wearing more color than I normally wear. I'm going to be bringing you another part of my 12 Friends, 12 Books. So today I'm going to be featuring two mini reviews of two books that I read in May and June for the 12 Friends, 12 Books project. I just had to get my notepad. So just a quick update on the 12 Friends, 12 Books project. I have read 9 of the 12 Friends, 12 Books project. So that means that I have 3 left. The 3 left that I have are Song of the Abyss, The Wicked King, and Lalani of the Distant Sea. Song of the Abyss is a tricky one because I have to reread Isle of Blood and Stone. So I really kind of have more like 4 books until I'm done. I want to read Isle of Blood and Stone and Song of the Abyss. So hopefully by the end of July I will finish that. And then I'll just have 2 more books to read. So I'm on a really good track for the 12 Friends, 12 Books project. So I'm okay if I wait a little bit more between The Wicked King and Lalani of the Distant Sea. I need to take advantage of my local library while I can, so I need to get on Isle of Blood and Stone and Song of the Abyss. So let me just talk about the 2 books that I'm going to be talking about in this video. The first one is Gabby, A Girl in Pieces. This was recommended to me by Carmen from Tomes and Textiles on Instagram. So I trust Carmen's recommendations so much. Carmen is such a great advocate for diverse books, but also just this whole range of books. So general adult fiction books all the way to YA books, even some, middle grade and picture books I've seen on Carmen's feed. I am just so in awe of Carmen's fashion sense. It is so great. I am not doing it justice in my outfit today, but I was really intrigued by Gabby, Girl in Pieces because of this whole kind of project. There haven't been that many recommendations or I've never heard anything about them, but Gabby, A Girl in Pieces is. So Gabby, A Girl in Pieces is told in this kind of journal style, which I felt was really great to get a good look at Gabby. And the author is able to maintain this balance between kind of slice of life activity, we feel like we're dropped right into Gabby's life, but also this kind of drama and the action within her life. So it had this balance between kind of these are the everyday concerns Gabby has with her dad, with the substance abuse of her dad, with her best friends, with her mom, with all of these different aspects of her life, while also being very much kind of grounded in the day-to-day things as well. And I really loved that aspect. Another aspect I really loved was the way that Gabby, Girl in Pieces really kind of looks at this idea of all of these different images and perceptions and pieces of ourselves that we show to different people and to the world, and how each of these relationships expose a piece of ourselves, if that makes any sense. So it was just kind of this perfect blend of being introspective, action-packed, and just very emotional. There's a lot that goes on in Gabby's life. It has a lot of different trigger warnings that you definitely should check out if you're interested in reading. And it was just, I didn't expect it to be so moving, I guess. And maybe not moving in a very obvious way, I didn't cry or anything, but moving in I felt like this does justice to kind of an experience, and it does justice to this balance, between these really big focal points that happen in our life and also these everyday kind of interactions as well. And then the next book I want to talk about is Company by Max Berry. This was recommended to me by Mike. I don't know if I've talked in the channel about my friendship with Mike, but it actually started in, I'm pretty sure 2018, when I was at BookCon before, BookCon was no more. And I had done this tweet, which I didn't expect to get any feedback because I was super small at that point. I still feel super small inside. But I did this tweet hey, I'm at BookCon. If you're at BookCon and you want to say hi, let's say hi. And then Mike did say hi. He sent me this super zoomed in photo and was is this you? And it was me. And so we met and we bonded over more Milan and Ignite the Stars and all of these different things that we were excited for. Oh, and I'm pretty sure we bonded over excitement for Descendant of the Crane as well. But anyway, we bonded over a lot of those things, and so that's kind of how that friendship was born. Mike reads a lot of fantasy and sci-fi, and I just really love those conversations we can have because we're both reading a lot of arcs, so it's really great when I can have conversations about arcs with other people because there normally isn't that many opinions, and I like to kind of bounce my ideas off of a soundboard, so it's great that I have Mike to kind of chat about with that. So Mike recommended Company by Max Berry. I have read Providence by Max Berry before, which I enjoyed, but I felt like intellectually, I there are a lot of concepts that I wanted to be explored more, and I felt like Providence for me would have been a little bit better if it had been kind of elongated and stretched out into a series, because I really love the idea of sci-fi corporate kind of entity slash conflict. And so if you have any recommendations, leave them below. But I was a little bit frustrated that that didn't get as much intrigue, and there was a lot of intrigue with POV and with like everyone's individual motivations and individual issues. But yeah, so I've read Providence by Max Berry. And so I was intrigued by Company because Providence came out in 2020 and Company came out in 2006. So it's a much earlier book in Max Berry's career. And I don't really know how to describe it, except like if you have read the Stanley Life Parable, I don't even actually know if that's the name of the game, but like basically that office simulator where like you're stuck every day in the kind of this office loop. The Company, and I keep wanting to call it The Company, but it's just Company. Company takes this idea of office culture and sort of magnifies it, and it's kind of like all of these petty office disputes that are that seem so important to us, but then realize from like an outsider perspective that having one less donut a day is not, you know, the end of the world. But anyway, it takes all of these minutiae of office culture and kind of expands them and makes them, kind of pursues them to the very end. So I think that why I enjoyed Company, on one hand, was definitely that kind of office culture experience, and it felt very true to the very, very small experience I had with office culture. But reasons why it ultimately didn't work for me was definitely that I'm a person who's very driven by characters. And so I felt like Company didn't delve as much into each character. It kind of goes through a large amount of perspectives and also a large amount of snapshots of like each character, and also sometimes even random characters. And so for me, there wasn't that same pull like, oh, I need to find out what happened to X, or I need to know what's next for Y, right? Everything kept bouncing around a lot. And so for me, I wasn't pulled by that character. Also, I felt like the pacing of the first 2/3 maybe were pretty slow, and then reading the last third, or you know, even the last 40%, made me realize all the things that were being set up and kind of built towards. But I think that if it wasn't for the 12 Friends 12 Books project, I don't know if I would have finished this book, just because I felt like it was hard to kind of see where things were going. Because of those two reasons, that's ultimately why I didn't feel like, oh my god, I love this book, right? Like I thought that also I also thought that this book, and a little bit like Providence, like this book felt so intellectual in the ways that it looks at office dynamics and looks at people and looks at all of these different interactions they have. And there's a lot of it that I can't spoil, or I don't want to spoil, so I don't want to talk about that. But I'm just saying it felt very intellectual on some levels, and very much kind of based on what you'll do and what they'll do and how that will impact 5 choices from now, and the office like atmosphere, I guess, and office mood and everything like that. And so I felt like on some ways it felt very intellectual. And I don't know if it was because I was normally reading this at night after I'd done a lot of work, but it just felt really hard to like jump back in and jump out of, because it did feel so intellectual. But also about while having all of this action about what's supposed to happen and this intrigue. And so I don't know. I think as a whole, I thought it was enjoyable, but I don't know if I definitely wouldn't read it again. And I don't know ultimately how I feel about it. So that was the kind of the 2 mini reviews for the 12 Friends 12 Books project. You can see me in the next one, where hopefully I've not only read Song of the Abyss, but either The Wicker King or Lalani of the Distant Sea. Don't expect that video for a while, because as I said, I'm very on top of this project. And so having only 3 or 4 books left for the end of the year, I feel like I can really, you know, take it down a notch. I was super worried that it was going to kind of snowball and I would never finish, but it looks like I'm going to finish this project. So yeah, I hope that you enjoyed this video and that you've enjoyed this series. I'm enjoying this series so much. I'm already kind of like planning who I want to ask for the next year. So that's been really fun. And yeah, I hope to see you in the next one for my next update, and excuse all the color. Bye.